Hello guys, and welcome back to my studio. With Mother's Day being this past weekend, I knew I wanted to do something special. So while going through boxes and organizing art supplies, I came across my hallowed horn illustrations that I did last year. Since there's still so many of them that are unpainted, I laid them all out and asked my mom which one she wanted to see in full color. And the one she chose was the Queen of Spades. If you're unfamiliar with my hallowed horn collection, feel free to click the link below, which will take you to a playlist showing you the first 2 illustration videos, and the third is a painting process of the Jack of Hearts. Now, since these illustrations were actually done a while back, I already had a really good idea of the color palette that I wanted to use, but a major part of this collection was all the beautiful pattern work and line art, so I had to make sure that I had a clean scan of the illustration to make a coloring page. Fortunately, I realized that my scanner was busted somehow in the move, which meant that I had to redo the lines in Procreate, but it also meant that I was able to catch a few mistakes that I had made in the original illustration. This means that if you go to gumroad.com to download this page, your version of the line art will technically be a little better than mine. So once the digital version was taken care of, the next step was for me to work on the line art for her scarf and her shirt. Now, I didn't want there to be as strong of a contrast, so I decided to go with a purple line instead of a black line. And here I'm just using a 01 size micron pen. I love using microns, again, because they are completely waterproof once they're dry, and you can very easily build up line weight, so I can do thinner lines like I am here and also build on it and get some thicker area as well. Now, in the first video in this series, I went over what each character represents and how the individual characters are unified within each suit. The king being the heart of the kingdom, the queen is the mind, and the warrior or the jack is the soul. So with the queens being the representation of the mind and intellect of each kingdom, I gave each one kind of a specific field of study, and the Queen of Spades was agriculture. Once I figured out what each queen would be doing, it really helped me to look for patterns that would further correlate with each kingdom. So for the Queen of Spades, I wanted something very earthy and a little bit floral, so there's lots of sunbursts and petals and leaves to represent life and nature. Now, like I said before, I already had a really good idea of the colors that I wanted to use, so it was really important to me to make the colors dynamic. My initial thought back then was to have a specific color for each suit. In this case, Spades were purple, but instead of just going in with purple, in order to make the color of her shirt and scarf pop a little bit more, I gave her a very vibrant pink highlight and then a very vibrant blue shadow area underneath the purple, so that way it would give it kind of a color shifting effect, as if when it stretched or was in the sunlight it was kind of a pink tone, and when you were in the shadow there was undertones of blue. And because the purple that I was ultimately going for was a very deep shade, it was important to remember to let each layer dry completely before reestablishing the pink highlights and blue shadows. Overall, I have to say that The shirt and the scarf are probably my favorite part of this painting. I can practically feel the roundness of her baby bump, and there is definitely an energetic quality to the color that I know I wouldn't have been able to achieve if I had just used shades of purple. Every once in a while, a piece comes along that is a good example of how you want your style to continue to evolve. And that can actually be really exciting, and I feel like that's what this piece does for me. Unfortunately, one of the downsides of enjoying a piece this much generally means that recreating prints can be kind of underwhelming. It can sometimes be pretty difficult to create that same vibrancy and energy in a print that you have in the original, and I guess that's probably the best motivator for purchasing an original as opposed to a print. I haven't actually gotten around to making prints of this piece yet, but for example, my Ostara painting, I really enjoyed the pastel softness of it all, but I've been having a hard time getting the prints not to look washed out. As a solution for this, I've decided that sometimes it's actually better to make prints from the digital rendering instead of trying to mimic all the subtleties that can come with a traditional painting. It's moments like these that I'm super thankful for my own crafty mom. She taught me that if you look hard enough, there's a creative solution for just about any problem or puzzle that comes your way. And that failure only really comes when you give up on yourself and you stop believing in who you are today and who you can be tomorrow. I just want to apologize in advance for the kind of time jump that you'll see here in a second. I didn't realize that I wasn't actually recording while painting this part, but you can actually see that she all of a sudden has a left hand that is fully rendered. But this is one of the mistakes that I was able to fix in Procreate, where I added her left hand in, and I also adjusted the size and angle of the tablet that she's holding. After looking at it with fresh eyes, I realized that it was just a little off and I couldn't just let it stay that way. I had to fix it. So I just mixed up a couple shades of gray with my Acryla-Gouache to cover up the pre-existing lines. Almost at the finish line, and I start working on the background, and I wanted to create these beautiful rolling hills at sunrise, like she's up early in the morning to check the numbers for the harvest, and I wanted to have this really serene landscape in the background. For this part, it was pretty important to have a smooth gradient going from that golden yellow to the deeper green. So again, it was about putting on those layers, letting them dry, and reapplying the next layer on top. And last but never least are the gold accents for the border and her jewelry. Like I said, I'm very happy with the turnout of this, especially considering it was an older illustration. And I'm glad that I was able to use some of the experience that I've gained since then to fix some of those mistakes. And I'm really excited because as I move on to my next painting for Mermaid, I'll have something that I can reference to remind me to include some of that vibrancy and life in the next painting. I've also decided that I'll definitely be adding the rest of the Hallowed Horn collection to Gumroad, so you guys can go over there, and over the next few weeks you'll be able to download individual coloring pages and eventually the entire collection. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Mother's Day to all the awesome moms out there, and a very special Happy Mother's Day to my special creative mom. I love you so much, and I can't thank you enough for always supporting my weird and being my #1 inspiration.